Much has changed at Williams since New York-based investment firm Jost Capito bought one of Formula One's most famous teams in August last year. The latest move is the departure of team principal Simon Roberts, who first joined Williams in June 2020 and only became team principal on a full-time basis at the end of last season. But this is about more than simply the departure of one of the most senior members of the team. Instead, it's part of an internal restructure designed to change the culture of the team with the objective of modernising its working practices. The hope is this is part of setting it back on the road to one day fighting for wins and world championships. Let us know what you think of Williams' changes in the comments, and if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the race so you can follow all of our Formula One coverage. And hit the notifications bell so you're told the moment there's something new to watch. Roberts joined Williams as Managing Director F1 at the start of last June with a brief to take overall responsibility for the design and development process, racing, factory operations and planning. The former McLaren man then took on team principal responsibilities on an interim basis in September 2020. This was shortly after Jost Capito acquired the team and Frank and Claire Williams, who held the roles of team principal and deputy team principal, left. Roberts, who has significant F1 experience stretching back to 2003, was handed the role full-time last December, having played a key role in the transition of the team from the Williams to the Doralton era. Roberts' departure is part of a restructure focused on improving the collaboration between the race team and the various design and development departments within Williams. While he held the team principal position, his primary role was actually as racing director, giving him overall responsibility for the team trackside. With the race team now reporting to François-Xavier de Maison, who started work as technical director in April, Roberts' role has become defunct. The nominal team principal function now switches to Williams CEO Jost Capito, although it is no longer considered a standalone role in its own right within the Williams structure. This means that both the race team and the various design departments now report to de Maison as part of a streamlining of the company structure. While other changes are being made to the company structure outside of the race and design side, this is the most significant change that will impact on-track performance. When Capito joined Williams in February, he embarked on a 100-day review of the company. As part of this process, he conducted one-to-one conversations with managers across Williams to understand the weaknesses that needed to be tackled. The most significant problem that he identified was the need to get the race team and the design departments at the factory to work together more effectively. The feeling is that Williams has a culture whereby the race team gets credit for when it is successful, with the design team blamed if the performances are disappointing. The intention is to shift that perception to encourage a more collaborative approach. Under the previous structure, Roberts and de Maison were at the same level and both reported to Capito. This change puts the racing side and the design side under de Maison, with the intention that this will reduce politics and stop departments acting as independent silos. After all, a common problem that has blighted many F1 teams since they grew into massive organisations is the tendency for departments to attempt to pass the blame onto others rather than work more closely together. The objective is to improve communication between the race team and the factory and make them operate as one team rather than separate entities. As part of this simplified structure, a sporting director to work with team manager Dave Redding is also set to be appointed. The aim is to make the team operate less as a matrix organisation, clarifying roles and responsibilities with the objective of reducing decisions made by committee. The hope is this will get all departments, particularly the race and design teams, pulling in the same direction. This is part of an ongoing modernising process at Williams which started even before Jost Capito acquired it last year. Given the team has grown organically over the years, it's felt that the structure has not kept pace with the demands of a modern Grand Prix team. It's also another example of Capito being willing to take decisive and bold action to stamp his vision on the team. Given the astonishing success the Volkswagen team he led had in the World Rally Championship, that can only be a positive for Williams. While Williams' results this season aren't the reason for these changes, they are perhaps a symptom of the problems. Williams currently stands 10th in the Constructors' Championship with 0 points. Although there was no expectation that Williams would vault up the standings, it was hoped that it could occasionally challenge for points. So far this season, George Russell was on course for points at Imola before colliding with Mercedes driver Valtteri Bottas while battling for 9th place, but that's the only time Williams has been competitive enough to score. The drivers have complained about the car being too wind sensitive, which has been attributed to the aerodynamic designers focusing on peak downforce over robustness. That said, the car did perform relatively well at windy Baku, partly thanks to bargeboard tweaks designed to ease this problem. Overall, Williams is closer to the pace this season than it was last year, which is the most significant performance measure. On average, it has the 8th fastest car, with an average deficit of 1.839% compared to 2.706% last year. But with race pace continuing to be harder to come by than qualifying speed, Williams has not finished higher than 14th in the 6 races so far this season. Mick Schumacher's 13th place in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix therefore allowed Haas to move ahead of Williams in the constructors' standings on countback to best result, despite both teams having no points. More significant is the work being done off-track on the design and development of the 2022 car for the new technical regulations. This car will set the team's direction for the years to follow and offers an opportunity to take a big step forward. While Williams won't repeat its success of 2014, when it leapt from near the back of the field to be the 2nd fastest team on average, it is a chance for it to establish itself as a strong midfield contender. That's why Capito making these changes quickly is so important. Williams has long been regarded as a team that needs to modernise, and on top of the significant investment Doralton Capital has made in improving the team's facilities and workforce, these are the changes that will ensure it can make the most of its increased resources and put years of underachievement behind it. So are you convinced by how Williams is changing? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.